Genius Mapping with Professor Thomas. Hello everyone, it's Professor Thomas here with a quick video introduction to Genius Mapping. Some parents may be thinking, what the heck is Genius Mapping? Well, let's go over some basic concepts and misnomers about Genius Mapping. First things first, it is not speed reading. It is a technique used to absorb information at a tremendously fast rate. Basically, we use something called cultural coding. Cultural coding is a fancy term for taking things that you've already learned from the environment. That means family vacations, YouTube, watching movies at school, going over to grandpa's house, taking things that you've seen before and trying to relate them into the information that you have in front of you, which is called a reading passage. Ooh, I know something about that because I watched a YouTube video. Oh, that reminds me of my grandpa. We went on family vacation to that part of Florida. Taking information and applying what you know already to something that you don't know and making it make more sense and more interesting. Speed reading is proven to be 300 times more effective than speed reading. Why? Because speed reading, you're basically just kind of looking at the words and hoping that you're going to get something out of here. There's a very, very special, precise technique that you'll use for Genius Mapping. It's super, super easy. I have kids as young as 5th and 6th grade in the Genius Mapping course, and let me tell you something. They love it. Basically, these kids come in and they say, "Wait, Professor, I'm not supposed to read every single word." And then I sit there and ask them, well, let's go ahead and think about that. The word "the." What does that mean? As a parent, think about that. What does the word "the" mean? It really has no meaning. But if you look in a regular passage, the word "the" is going to be repeated quite often. So you're going to spend time reading that particular word "the" and it has no meaning. That's like eating food that has no nutritional value and no calories. Why would you eat it? Doesn't make any sense to me. Let's go ahead and take a look at some cases where we will be able to use Genius Mapping. First and foremost, Genius Mapping was created for standardized test preparation. We're going to use this for ACT, SAT, and the MCA tests. The MCA tests are for public schools that, in order to pass from one grade to the next, it is the proficiency examination. Another way we'll be able to use Genius Mapping is on high school and junior high school homework assignments. Whenever you have an argumentative essay, you'll be able to Genius Map. Another way we'll be able to do this is in books, magazines, and newspaper articles. Genius Mapping course. Who is Professor Thomas, you may ask? Very good question. We went ahead and did a research project with the kids. We had them write down on a piece of paper 3 words to describe Professor Thomas. We collected the data and the results are out. Here's the top 10 list of what kids think of Professor Thomas. Let's go over each one. Number 1, wacky. Why do kids think I'm wacky? Because I live in 2 countries. I travel throughout the world teaching people how to Genius Map, the good stinky rule, and the Scooby-Doo technique. Why do kids say I'm clever? Because I invented Genius Mapping. For the same reason kids say I'm creative, inventor, the Genius Mapping technique. Number 4, motivator. This is my job. I have to teach kids stuff that they don't want to learn. I need to be motivating and get those kids to do things they don't want to do. Who do you know that likes to read a book nowadays? Not many students. Number 5, driven. I have to be driven in order to motivate my students. Number 6, why do kids like me? Because I use language that resonates. I try and make everything as easy as possible and not worry about big fancy words. I relate everything back to the real world. Number 7, I own my own business. I have to provide a product that's awesome. I have to be a perfectionist. I work as hard as I can to provide you with the best possible service, and that is going to make me successful and a perfectionist. 8, kids come in, they struggle. I have to be supportive for these kids. Many times I've seen kids cry. Many times I've seen kids depressed. I'm there to help those kids through the tough times. The Genius team and the other kids in the program are also there as a supportive service mechanism. Number 9, great storyteller. Well, a great storyteller, I try and relate everything back to the real world, and I have all kinds of wacky stories because I travel all the time. So I take information that I teach and apply it to a new, weird, wacky situation. And number 10, full of energy. Well, I'm motivated, I'm driven, I'm full of energy. It goes to say itself. Let's talk a little bit about the details of the program. Here's what you're going to get in the Genius Mapping program. You get private lessons with Professor Thomas. There's 14 hours total, and that usually lasts around 10 to 12 weeks. If you go once a week, will last probably about 3 months. Many people like to have their kids involved in the summertime. Parents are getting the kids involved during the school year, after school, when the sports kind of gear down a little bit, and during the summertime. We have weekly meetings called Genius Combines. So basically what will happen is once a week, I'll meet with your kid. Then on Wednesday during the school year and Tuesday and Wednesday, you have options. You could send the kid to the Genius Combine. That is an opportunity for them to meet the other kids in the program, see me, see my 2 assistants, and talk to my interns, and try and feed off of the positive energy. Kids are going to see other kids working their tails off. That's going to motivate your kid. At the Genius Combines, we are going to have interactive video homework assignments. There's 30 of them. So you can see between the 14 hours of private tutoring with me, they'll learn something each week, and then it will be reinforced in the interactive video assignment. Extra help throughout the summertime and sometimes during the school year, we have mini help seminars. Sometimes we'll set up a special day for a certain time if kids are struggling with certain concepts. Anyone involved in any one of my levels, whether it's pre-Genius Mapping, Genius Mapping, or ACT, is always welcome to come to one of the training seminars. During the summer, we also have seminars as well. The Genius Team. Get your kid to be a part of a special group. As I said before, my students are extremely motivated. I have 20 years of teaching experience, teaching many, many different subjects. I really focus in on what I call creative learning strategies. If you're interested in having your son or daughter involved in a very special program, call for registration material, 952-217-0353.